dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schwizow.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrollouts.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rollouts, cleanup made simple.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Bring new life to.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket, when unheard issues get brought to light and every perspective counts. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
All right, welcome in. Sunday night, Walk the Herd. Okay, I'm just kind of jamming to the music with my co-host, Ashlee, here. I can't remember, Jake, did you pick that music for me? I
picked a few of them. I think Austin didn't like all my selections, so he might have picked through them. But I think maybe this was mine.
I really dig it. It reminds me of a song. I'm trying to think. Is it Cracker McGee? I'll have to look it up. The beginning reminds me of a song that I actually really like. That's like it's a well-known song, but one-hit wonder band. But anyway, sorry, I was just jamming to it. So here we are. Rebecca Pearson, Walk the Herd, 7 p.m. Sunday night. Great to be with you. We have a great show tonight. We are 93.7 The Ticket. I want to make sure that you know how to listen to us. Hopefully you are listening to us. You can also watch us on any of your social media platforms if you prefer to watch. And we're on Allo Channel 961. Also, we want to encourage you to call in or text in or drop something in the social media chat at 402-464-5685. Aniko Renee is out tonight, but I have my very special guest, Ashlee Mitchell, which we'll get to introducing her and having her help me co-host today. But let me go back to a little bit what Walk the Herd is about, because this is only my third show. And if you are new to the show, it would be worth just a little bit of an intro as to what we do. So each week, we're inviting you to walk with us into someone else's world, their experiences, their challenges, and their point of view. The purpose is simple: to open our minds to how issues and situations look through different lifestyles, beliefs, and worldviews. Sometimes what you hear may challenge your own thinking, and that's the point. Together, we will explore topics across sports, business, and life with a focus on gender and ethnic perspectives that are too often overlooked. This is your chance to listen, reflect, and maybe even see the world a little differently. So let's walk this path together, and we're going to do that with my guest tonight, Ashlee Mitchell.
Hello.
So, hi, Ashlee. Thanks for joining. And my co-host is out. It is out tonight, but hopefully she'll be back with us next week. And one of the things that you and I have just met, but one of the things that really appealed to me about having you on is I have always wondered what it would be like to be on a spirit squad or cheer or something. So we're going to get to terminology because that's my number one question. But before we do that, tell us, who is Ashlee Mitchell? Where are you from? What do you do? What's going on?
Thank you for asking. I am, again, Ashlee Mitchell, and I am from San Antonio, Texas. I moved to Nebraska when I was about 13 years old. My mom's side of the family has been from Nebraska. So I always was traveling back and forth, always was a Husker fan. Although I do love Texas still. Horns up. I had to shout it out. Except for when Nebraska and Texas are competing. But I am currently a law student at the University of Nebraska School of Law. And yeah, I was a former Nebraska cheerleader.
Okay, excellent. All right. So one of the things that we love to talk about is just women in sports. And because 93.7 Ticket is an all sports station. And for those who don't know me, I'm the co-owner of this station, among many other things, but that's really the most relevant thing for having this conversation. But I was in dance when I was in high school. All right. And, there was a rivalry in high school of dance versus cheerleading.
Ooh.
Yeah. So either, and this will start the conversation off right away about perspectives. There was in my high school, and I'm wondering if you had this same experience, the girls who did dance and the girls that did cheerleading, and they had their own descriptions and perspective about who was on the cheerleading squad and who was on the dance squad. So did you have the same kind of thing in high school?
This is so interesting to me. Actually, I have not had that experience. I, especially high school to college, I'm going to specifically speak about college right now.
Okay.
We have had so much respect for each other. And I think that there are a lot of similarities, but also I like that the girls make a point to point out our differences. For example, like cheers, stunting, and tumbling, but dance is choreography based and like performance based aspects. So that's been really cool to me is that a lot of the girls, even on the dance team, had made it a point to say, oh yeah, like, yes, we are a part of the Spirit Squad and that's what we stand for. We want to make game days special, but we dance and they stunt and tumble. And that's like one of the biggest differences. I think that they've always brought it into light with grace because a lot of fans aren't sure what the difference between dance and cheer is, especially since cheer had been grounded for a long time. I don't know if we talked about that when we first met, but cheer wasn't allowed to stunt for a long time.
Yes.
So that really blurred the lines between what is dance and what is cheer. Especially as dancers started tumbling a lot more recently.
Okay. All right.
And we finally were able to bring not just men back to the squad, but stunting as well over the past couple of years. So I think that has just really helped refine the difference between us. But I also think that has helped us grow in respect for each of our different abilities. I would say. Yeah.
I can see that. And I think I'm old. So, and I was in a decent sized high school, but not huge. However, I was in the Northern Virginia area in DC. So a large city where we would, in theory, have lots of people that could potentially do these things, right? If you're a small school in a small rural town, you get whatever you get, right? Kind of like any of the sports teams. Yes. And people are doing multiple things. And so it's unlikely that everybody's talented at everything. But coming from a big city like that, the school was decent sized. But also years ago, the dance teams were not doing what the dance teams are doing today. There's no chance on this planet I would make a dance team in today's college world. Even college back then was less than it is today, and the cheer team's similar. So I think, but now that you say that, I believe the differences would have been somewhat similar. Of people who had the talent or preferred to kind of, actually there was probably more gymnastics going on in the cheer team in those years. So we're talking the early 80s, just to really date myself. You weren't even born. And the dance team was doing, I'm going to say, more synchronized moves. All right. But not the kind of ballet type moves that they can do today, or any of the current, I'm going to call them current dance moves, right? It was kind of very much synchronized, coordinated versus maybe some lifts, and kind of just cheer.
So can I ask you what was the dispute back then about?
Yes,
what was the thought?
It's high school, so I think it was kind of cliques, but definitely the pretty girls, the cool girls were cheerleaders.
Really?
Yeah. So the A team, you know how this goes in high school, and anybody listening knows this drill, right? The cool girls they were all dating football players.
Of course.
It's classic high school. Although I was dating a football player, and it was not DP. We didn't go to the same high school, even though we were in the same area, but I was dating a football player, but I was on the dance team.
You were on the right track.
Yes, but I was in the B squad, right? So I was definitely not one of the popular girls. I mean, that's from a clique perspective. I think that's it. And then you sort of have the I don't know, the talent differences where someone might value one of those talents more than the other, but for the most part, everyone had to have a decent academic background, but I think there was probably still some baggage with academics being stronger in the dance team than the cheerleading squad. But I don't think there was a whole lot of truth to that. More just these are the girls dating the football players, right?
Right.
One of those kinds of things. So anyway, I feel like, in today's world, you've got a much higher level of quality of what all these folks are doing.
Yes.
Now, describe for us. So when I posted that we were having you on, so I hope there's lots of people listening. And please don't forget to call in or chat in if you want to ask us a question. But you are certainly a game day ambassador. You were kind of giving me the lowdown on what you do every day to support the team for Nebraska in this case. But what's the difference in the roles between what the dance team does? Oh, and now we have to get into terminology. Am I allowed to call you a cheerleader? I have to call you spirit squad, cheer squad? What's the right word?
As a whole, we are known as the spirit squad.
Okay.
But separately, the Scarlets or dance team, you can refer to them as either, and then the cheer team was just a cheer team. Yep.
Okay. Are we allowed to call you cheerleaders?
Of course.
Okay, that's a real word.
Yep,
all right. I was thinking, okay, that's probably politically incorrect, and I'm totally not with it because I don't know what the right word is.
No, that's perfect.
It's good.
Yep,
excellent.
perfect.
Okay, so together, so the spirit squad is the cheer team, the dance team, and aren't there some other people? The band? Where do they fit in?
I think the band is a part of our realm with marketing.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're necessarily, when we refer to spirit squad, normally we talk about just cheer and dance. Mascots are included,
nice.
of course.
Yes,
very
gotta
important.
have them. All right, we have really important ones in Nebraska.
Yes,
too.
very.
And aren't there twirlers and other things
and
going
they
on?
are so talented. I adore watching them. I could never do that. I remember trying to get into that as a younger kid, and I cannot believe how they haven't knocked themselves out with the baton before.
Right. Or throw the baton up and have it be on the other side of the field, or any number of embarrassing things that could
Suddenly
occur.
we knock out Matt Rule.
Right.
It's a whole controversy.
Or the mascot, even worse. Lil Red falls down. Oh my goodness. I think it's kind of like a hula hoop. So I did do a little bit of twirling in my early days, only to see if I could do it. But it's kind of like the hula hoop to me, right? Once you get it going, you can kind of keep it going. But yeah, the basics are difficult. So, all right. So then why and how? So tumbling and gymnastics for cheer, and let's say real dance for the dance team. Why did you pick cheer?
That's a great question, actually. I started off as a dancer when I was 3 years old. I was in dance up until I believe age 12. That's when I made the switch over to cheer. I truly have a passion for both of them, and I think that dancers and dance just has a special spot in my heart, and I will always admire what they do. But I fell in love with specifically stunting from cheer.
Okay.
Being able to lift or be lifted was just such a there's no way to describe it except for a cool thing. It just felt unreal to be able to do these things, and it was a great way to push myself, I think, physically and mentally. As you got into harder skills, especially in college, as we started stacking 2 or 3 people on top of each other, it got more intense. And I think that was just always something that I was very passionate about, was stunting and being able to do that. But also I fell in love with tumbling, which is another aspect of it. And I just decided I didn't want to go back to dance. I wanted to continue on with cheer, specifically because of the stunting and tumbling. But we also did an all-star cheer when I was younger. It has a dance part of it. It's a lot less flowy than actual dance. It's very sharp and snappy motions. And I realized that I was pretty good at that. I was better at that than being flowy. So I realized soon enough that I think I was called to be a cheerleader instead of a dancer. I wish I could dance like that, but I just can't. So if you ever see me at a wedding or something, I will probably be laughing in the corner.
Are you the awkward girl?
I am so awkward. And everybody's like, you were in cheer, you can dance. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I can do cheer dances. Y'all don't understand. There's a difference. And so yeah, I'll bust out a cheer dance every once in a while, but you will probably not see great dancing from me at weddings. Okay. I'm working on my wobble.
Okay, so for people from my generation, we'll see if Jake knows this. So have you ever heard of the the comedy series Seinfeld?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you know about Elaine and her dancing?
I don't.
Okay. So my generation. All right, Jake said, do you know this? You know about Elaine and her
I know
dancing?
Elaine
Okay.
dancing, yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you are the Elaine of dancing, but for my generation, we can all relate for those who are super awkward dancing. So now you're gonna have to go look that up because it's very funny. So it's
probably
classic comedy, but she was the one you were embarrassed to take to the party, but she was part of it.
like the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yes.
And the kicking and when you shouldn't be. And
you got it. I can
offbeat.
I can bust a move.
I know you're
when
not
it's-
that uncoordinated. I know it.
with Nebraska cheer dances. Wow, that's a
Right.
mouthful. But with the cheer dances, I got them. Like I promised y'all, I'm not that awkward.
Yeah,
but
no,
once
I'm sure you're not.
Once it gets to wedding dances or anything
Right.
fun, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
that's the
got
whole
the knack for it.
freestyle. Well, if you bite my husband, then he just takes over the floor, and then
Yes.
no one wants to dance after him, just like nobody
Oh,
wants to
gosh.
speak after him. All right, so if you're in cheer, and so you gravitated to something that you felt like you were better at,
Mhm.
right? And that sort of gives you intrinsic satisfaction. We'll talk about
Yes.
talent lots, right? You follow the path where you feel the best, and you feel like you're doing the best.
Yes.
What makes the difference between an average cheerleader and
Mhm.
a really strong one? How do you distinguish the average from the best?
That's a great question. I feel like there are so many different aspects to it just
Mhm.
because I have not only been an athlete, but also a coach. One thing that I will say, and I know this sounds very cliche, is the determinism of an athlete. Like you can really tell the difference when an athlete is determined to be better and takes those corrections well. That's one of the big things. I think cheer is so mental, even when you don't think about it, because whether you are tumbling on a hardwood floor or whether you are trying to lift a girl above your head and spin her around twice, there's just so much mental disabilities in this practice, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And if you let your mind take a hold of you in a negative way, then I think that can really impact your performance. And so I think the big thing is that we really are trained on a mindset of positivity. And it's not just because we want to be good ambassadors for the school. I think it's also because there are so many different levels of things that can get mental
Right.
in the cheer world. And I think that's just not always spoken about. But I do see when a determined athlete comes to me, I really like it because I can tell that they are willing to take corrections, and cheer is very bumpy. So once you hit a low, it's very hard to climb back up to hit a high,
Mhm.
but that's what really makes an athlete stand out.
So we're going to come back to athletics because it's an
Yes.
important thing with cheer. And I don't know how we got off, but we did. I was asking you, what's the day in the life of a cheerleader in Nebraska or any other college school? You have a lot of exposure, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
competitions and things, but that's part of the athletic approach to cheer. But what's
Sure.
the day in a life of a Nebraska cheer team member?
So the cheer team has changed a little bit because they are competing this year. So I do know that their schedule has changed, maybe gotten more intense
Mhm.
since then, but I will go through probably one of the more intense days of
Okay.
my life last year. We would wake up at about 5 a.m. We'd have 6 a.m. lift. We were so lucky to get a lifting coach. His name's Hayden, and he was incredible. I believe he's still coaching them right now.
Okay.
We would have 6 a.m. lift from 6 to 7 a.m.
What is 6 a.m. lift, by the way? What does that mean?
We would just
Lifting
go
each
to weights.
other?
Yep.
Lift
Go to weights.
weighting?
Yep.
Weightlifting?
Great question. Yeah, weightlifting.
Weightlifting.
So we would be in the old football weight room right in Hawks.
Oh, cool.
It was amazing.
Yep.
And we would just go through our personalized weight routine, whether it was front squats or we did sleds a lot.
Yes.
We did sleds
Good
a
for
lot.
the glutes. Yep. Mhm.
It was great. But
I love
man,
sleds. Yep.
They're
They're hard though. At 6 a.m. even worse.
Yeah, it was definitely like a very challenging thing mentally, but it was so fruitful in the end, like especially seeing your teammates struggle and then hearing them encourage each other and then build up from there. It was just amazing.
Are we eating after we do weightlifting or
yes.
do you, okay.
Okay. Great
Sorry.
question.
I'm all about food.
I love this. So we make it a point to, since there are sleds and there are
Mhm.
heavy weights being tossed around,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we fuel our bodies.
Yeah.
So
Hard to do on an empty stomach.
yes. And it's hard because a lot of people do not like eating that
No.
early in the morning.
No.
So that was definitely like a timing thing.
Mhm.
Especially our first year, we were all like, oh my gosh, I feel sick because I ate so early.
Right.
And, you gotta figure out when to wake up.
And are you going to the training table or do you go somewhere else?
We would normally eat breakfast before lift, like eat a little protein bar or something.
Right, I gotcha.
We got training table 3 times a week.
Okay.
So 3 meals a week, you could say. So normally we'd go to the training table as a team after lift unless somebody had a class. And that was a great bonding moment. We got to enjoy food and chats. And that was a great way to start off the day. I think that was a great bonding moment for the teammates as well. Just being able to spend time over food. And then after that, we would have the whole day of classes. For me personally, since I'm going to law school, where I'm in law school now,
right?
Since I was going to law school, I was studying for the LSAT for about 5 hours during the day on top of my classes. So that took a lot of time management and splitting it up into chunks. But then in the evening, normally the girls would work out on their own or tumble or practice on their own, whether it was dances or tumbling. So I think a lot of girls would do that in the mid-afternoon or early evening. And then we would have practice again from 7 to 9:30. Occasionally it would get later, like if we needed to practice stuff more often. But then that would be
so
our
you've been
practice.
up since 5 a.m., weightlifting at 6 a.m.
Yes.
And then doing all the things you have to do as a student and practice. And then it's 9:30 and you still have to do homework at some point.
Yes. That required a lot of time management. I think a lot of people realized early on in their years on the team that they did not want to save homework until late in the evening, just in case. I mean,
you're ready to go to bed because you got to get up for 5 a.m.
Yeah. Okay. And when you're talking with teammates or like after practice, maybe you want to work on a couple extra stunts, like it's never going to truly go until 9:30. You know, you're gonna take 15 minutes walking out to the parking lot because you're talking to people or dissecting things or trying to go get a Gatorade. Yes. So it always just ended up being later than we thought, but we definitely realized very early on not to do homework until late at night. We wanted to get it done in the early afternoon or at 7 a.m. once we were done with lift. That was always a great time because
you're up, you're energized. Yes. Okay. Focused.
No phone, no text.
Right.
You know,
nobody else is up.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's kind of a regular, we're going to call it training day, school day, whatever. What is a game day like? Paint the picture for us. A home game anyway, right?
Oh, I miss it. I miss it so much.
Okay. She's got goosebumps.
I know.
Anybody watching, she's got goosebumps. Game day.
Game day. Okay. Let's say it's a 11 a.m. kickoff. So we would have to be at the game about 4 hours early. Actually, I'm gonna backtrack here. The night before, normally Friday nights, we would have appearances. So we would go to Misty's, or you'd be assigned to one of the Hyatt hotels, I believe, because they sponsor us. I'm pretty sure. And you'd get sent to a couple random appearances. So each group would just get one appearance for the night. So thankfully, we didn't have to hop around places. But we would have appearances the night before, get to do a couple of fight songs, chat with some people, just enjoy the game day atmosphere and get people ready for game day. And then the next day, we would wake up. We'd have to be there 4 hours early for kickoff. So there would be a lot of other appearances, like I said, the next day, whether it's the tunnel walk or something else. We would have to be at a bunch of different things. It just changed every time, basically. But and we would warm up, of course. So we would warm up twice, once early in the morning, kind of to wake ourselves up, get us going. And then another time, pretty much right before we go out on the field, just so that we could feel prepared and ready for the stunts and tumbling and whatever before. But you wouldn't believe how fast those 4 hours go by. It seems like a lot of time, but it felt like you would get there and warm up and then be on the field already. It felt like there was no
jets are flying over and it's game on.
Exactly. And then you're already at pregame and you're running circles around the field trying to do your dances. So those 4 hours went by very fast. It was always a really early morning trying to get your hair done. I think the cheer team has resorted now to slicked back ponytails for one of their bigger game day looks, which is interesting. I think it's a great idea for the sake of saving time and stunting and tumbling. Your hair doesn't get in your way. You're not stepping on your hair, stuff like that. But also there was a traditional Husker cheer hair, and it's that half up, half down with a slicked back. the teased and slicked back.
Oh my
Hence
gosh.
why I have short hair now. My hair is broken and damaged.
Yeah.
But they now do slicked backs a lot more often just to help you out with tumbling and stunting, especially when you are having 3 girls stack on top of your shoulders. It's kind of hard when your hair is getting weighed down. So that has saved a lot of time. But before, when they did husker hair more often, I think it took a lot longer to get ready in the mornings.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about hair because my show last week, I don't know if you caught the show last week. Okay. So I had my daughter, Nico, co-hosting for me, a biracial kid. And then we had Julie Jones Branch and her daughter, Kaya, on. And we were talking about being biracial. But one of the things that come with that is hair. And frankly, if you're talking to women, it's pretty hard not to be talking about hair. So just one of the things that women have to deal with that I think society has put on us is hair. Now, you have a functional comment about hair. I don't want somebody stepping on my hair because they're standing on my shoulders. But then you have the whole Husker cheer hair. I love it. And I'm sure when we get some of the former cheerleaders on here, even the dance team, there's going to be a whole conversation about how you wear the hair and the bows and the whole 9 yards. So is there a required amount of hair you're supposed to have when you're trying out for cheer? Or let's just say you don't have hair like me. What are you doing when you can't slick it back or do whatever you're supposed to? Like, you wearing wigs? What's going on with the hair?
That is such a great question. I've actually gotten asked this a lot. And by people trying out, I think that's the biggest thing is everybody goes, you guys all have such perfect hair. How does this work? Like, oh my goodness. And I've heard a lot of people think you need hair extensions or you need to be blonde or you need to have this cut and paste look to be on the cheer team or dance team. And I'm here to tell you right now, short hair, I have very thin hair. It was longer before I chopped it, but you don't need to have a certain look hair wise, though we do want to have the neat and tidy hair look and we want it to look the same, just like as any functional team, cheer dance team does. But if you have we had so many girls with curly hair, short hair, long hair,
non-blonde.
Yes, non-blonde, very all types of hair. And even for some of the girls with very curly hair, they wouldn't have to necessarily like tease their hair the same way that the girls with maybe thinner hair did. They were very accommodating on that. But it was really interesting because we do all end up looking so similar with our hair. And it's not because we all were born with the same hair. They were looking out at tryouts for, she's got the hair, she's on the team, you know. It was because we actually were taught and we had lessons on how to do the hair.
I love it. So you could have a Husker cheer hair. Is that what it's called? Husker cheer hair?
I remember at the beginning of the year, my first year on the team, we had a little shared Google classroom or something like that. And one of the older girls, one of the seniors, they always would post a hair and makeup tutorial. And the makeup tutorial was more whatever you wanted to do. Just, we want you to be able to see it from a crowd of 90,000 people from the very, very top of Memorial, instead of saying like, okay, you need copy and paste this, this, and this. But for the hair tutorial, it was very helpful because they would show you, okay, we split our hair this way and into 3 different parts, and then you're going to tie it back like this. And they would always try to bring in somebody maybe with like different hair. They'd say, Maela has different hair. So if you have curly hair and you need help, come to us and we'll help you. We'll teach you. So I remember for probably the first couple of appearances or things we did, I had somebody else doing my hair. I was like, I have no idea how to do this.
Can't deal with it.
I have very short hair in the front. And I remember I'd like just chopped the curtain bangs or something and I couldn't pull it back correctly. So they were always very helpful. And I think that made it even more special because you realize like, wow, this isn't just a copy and paste. You have to look one way. Like they're just helping you match
some of the requirements, right? But you're allowed to adapt, whatever.
And they're willing to help you out through it all. Like they weren't just leaving you alone in your basement crying because you don't know how to tease your hair.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll talk about some of the other requirements to be a cheerleader in a D1 collegiate school. This is 93.7 The Ticket. Walk the Herd.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor, and we want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you the listener on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
All right, Rebecca Pearson, Walk the Herd, 93.7 The Ticket. I'm back with Ashlee Mitchell. What a great show. We're having so much fun. If you don't know the life of a cheerleader or all the things that happen in cheer, and you're just used to seeing awesome athletes on the sidelines, whether it's in Nebraska or pro leagues, whatever, we're getting the inside scoop where the unheard are heard and every perspective counts. So we're going to dive in now to maybe some of the more interesting sides of cheer that people really don't hear, right? Thanks for sharing so much about you. But you know, in the old days when I was in high school, we were not athletes. I would definitely say the cheerleaders weren't athletes or barely doing lifts or anything. You guys are athletes. And
thank you.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, and by the way, so my friend whose daughter is a cheerleader, she was trying to describe this T-shirt they used to have, and we're going to find out what it is, but it was awesome. It was something like, and because she couldn't remember exactly, is athletes lift weights, and we
lift people,
lift athletes or something like that. Yeah. So I love that. But it sets the mind around these folks are really athletes, right? So, and you talked about weightlifting and all of that. When you're competing, so when you're trying out, and then there's lots of competition with cheer squads. I mean, we can all turn on TV, right, and watch these unbelievable competitions of cheerleaders doing unbelievable things. People are stacked 3-4 people high, and those people have names, right? You have bases and flyers and all kinds of other things. So what are you?
So I am a base. Actually, I'm very short. I'm 5'2", so that was always something really interesting. I dabbled into co-ed flying when I was just starting college, and I really enjoyed that. But my true passion was being able to lift. Like the adrenaline was always in the lifting other people for me. So being a base,
we got lights. Look at us.
I'm stunned. I'm too stunned to see.
Yes. All right.
Being a base is as you think, just lifting people up. There also are mids in the pyramid. So there's the base, which is the bottom. The mids and the 3 people high pyramids are the middle people. And then the gals on top are normally called the tippies.
Tippies.
Oh I think that's such a fun word.
That
all right, tippy, word. Go up.
Okay, so you have a base, a mid, and a tippy.
Yes.
Okay, and then you said something about flyers to me. So what's a flyer?
So a flyer, or also a mid or tippy, because they are still considered flyers.
Okay.
They are just being the ones being thrown in the air. There's different things. Whether it's co-ed is a boy holding one boy holding one girl.
Okay.
And then there's all girl, which is what I do, and that's 3 girls under 1 girl. So there's two bases,
right?
And they're the 2 girls facing in on each other. Right. There's a back spot who is on the ankles.
Okay.
And then the flyer, of course, in the air.
Right.
And then there's different pyramids, different types of things like that. And then the only other big difference I would say is there's baskets. And that's where this is so difficult to explain.
I think we all know when you say that, like I'm imagining somebody who drops off and you catch them or something like that.
So we just toss them up into the air,
right?
Free going, and they all land in 3 people's arms.
Okay. The trust fall that we all do in the corporate world is nothing compared to being dropped off the top of 4 people and counting on your team members to be there.
And flipping and twisting in the middle of the air. It's incredible. It just reminds me so much of diving. Like that body control and knowing where you're at in the air is just incredible.
Unbelievable. And the coordination and again, trust, right? Your teammates have got to be there when you're just being tossed off the top. So, all right, we're going to talk about lots of things that I think are fun and interesting here, but maybe a little harder to have conversations about. So when you're on the bottom, you said you're short. Yes. Is short a requirement to be on the bottom?
No. So we have all different, well, in cheer, my experience, there have been all different heights and sizes in all different areas. The most interesting thing is, as a coach, you see kids from ages 9 to 15, they're still growing. They're hitting those growth spurts. So a lot of kids go and change positions depending on their size, but you also see girls getting really tall or a bit larger, and they stay in their position because the thing that we were told, and we are told as athletes, is that you don't need to have somebody lose weight or get smaller to be a good flyer, or you don't need somebody to get bigger to be a base. You just need to be able to lift heavy and like work hard toward that.
Work, right.
Yes. And to do a good job in the air. And so that was one of the best things I think for me to realize was I always thought that maybe I either had to lose weight to become a flyer because I was so short, or I had to gain weight and get taller to become a base. But that was just one of the most important things I think for me as a younger athlete, was realizing like I don't have to change my body. I can lift weights and I can become more athletic, but I don't have to change how I look to become a better cheerleader. And I think that's something that people are still trying to understand.
I bet.
Especially being a flyer. Body image is so hard. No matter how easily people can lift you, I think a lot of girls still struggle with the fact that they don't feel like they're enough.
Self-conscious.
Yes. And I mean, man, it is hard lifting somebody. And so sometimes I think the grunts and the groans that come with it, you know, people can get self-conscious. So I think that they really like cheer in general, from a coaching standpoint and an athlete standpoint, they try to foster that encouraging standard where like if somebody is very body conscious, we really try to reassure them like it's not your job to lose weight. It's our job to lift heavier and grow stronger.
I love that.
We want to adapt
to the real support to adapting.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
to carry on this whole thing, to me, this sport of cheerleading, it lends itself to body image, body dysmorphia, comments and everything. Because in addition to just being on display, people are staring at you for hours on end. And you're in all kinds of positions, legs up, down, backwards, upside down, right? Your skirt's going up if you're a woman. If you're a dude, which we're going to talk about, you know, there's men in cheerleading now, much more accepted, but maybe not as much as we'd like. And then you're wearing short skirts, midriffs. I mean, not everybody was born to be in a short skirt and a midriff. And they could be one heck of a cheerleader and have to wear some of those outfits. So what are the conversations that go on about the uniforms that you're required to wear? How are those decided? Do you feel like there's an evolution there? Give me the scoop on all of that. Sorry, I laid a whole bunch on you.
That's great. I'm going to start from when I was younger in all-star cheer and then go towards college and collegiate athletics. When I was younger, we didn't have and I mean, obviously your uniform, no matter what sport you're in, is your uniform. So you don't really have a choice. When I was younger though, all-star cheer had a lot of crops and tight skirts, and it wasn't because they wanted to portray some kind of image. It actually, I love that they brought this up when I was younger. It's a safety thing. When you are stunting and tumbling and doing all these things so quickly and in a 2-minute and 30-second routine, people who wear baggy clothes can get their fingers caught.
Sure.
And I think that was the biggest thing was like after plenty of broken arms and fingers and wrists, they realized, okay, the best way to have people flipping and stuff like that around other people's hands, because that's quite literally what it is. You're twisting and
when you don't want
people.
anything caught.
Yes. If you caught somebody wrong, you could so easily break a finger if it wasn't tight. So I think that
or
was
get them off balance, perhaps even.
Yes. Yeah. It's so interesting. And you also can't spot someone. So if a girl is falling, we hope that never happens, but it does happen in cheer. If a girl is falling from a stunt and they are wearing a loose flowy skirt or a really loose shirt, you can't necessarily tell where their body is going.
Wow.
Yes. And like you might in cheer, you're grabbing for whatever. If somebody's falling, you're trying to save like essentially a life. People can get so injured if they fall and hit their head from 5.5 feet off the ground,
of course,
you know?
Right. On a gym floor or turf or yes. Anyway.
So your main job is to like grab and catch. And so that was one of the biggest things was they're like, we're not wearing tight clothes because we want y'all to look a certain way. We're wearing it so that you guys can catch these girls and be safe.
Right.
And so that was a really big turnaround moment for me because I always felt like I had to fit a certain image.
Right.
And it in turn, actually, I was like, no, this is a safety thing. But also, we love sparkles. We want to be girly, you know? So there is a little bit of a design aspect to it, especially for all-star cheer. As you get into college cheer, they have so many different uniforms. I like that Nebraska has so many different types of uniforms. We have some that show our midriff. We have some that don't. And I think that is really worn and used with discernment based on the situation. So like if we're doing an appearance with kids, we're not going to have our bellies out, you know? But again, same thing. The tightness isn't just for that show. It's for like safety purposes as well. One of the hard things I would say is when you don't get brand new uniforms every single year that are fit to your body, it is harder because you do feel like you have to fit into something, whether it's too big or too small. And I think they really addressed this issue last year, and they really had all the girls try on the uniforms and get new uniforms for whichever ones didn't fit. But I think that was a big eye-opening experience, was that, wow, we've had, though I don't know how the funds work necessarily for that, but they were like, wow, we don't want girls trying to fit into sizes that aren't their size.
Right.
You know, we don't want to make them feel bad for being too small or too big. And I don't ever think that was intended to happen, but it is just a thing with a lot of school cheers. I know multiple collegiate teams don't buy new uniforms every year. I honestly would like to say I don't know a single one that would buy new uniforms every year for their athletes. Maybe competitions for just one new uniform for their competitions, but a lot of them are, we have these sizes, and maybe if you are too big or too small, we will order a new size. But kind of those girls in the middle, they're like, we'll give you the best option, you know, but it might not be perfect.
So it changed perspective for me. One, that a lot of that uniform is designed on safety or just to cling to you so that stuff's not flying off or up. I mean, obviously tight shirts, because when you're on your head or you're flipping or whatever, you don't want your shirt flying up. You know, so those things seem practical, but it's a change perspective, because I have seen women in outfits that I wondered, why do they have to wear one that's too small or too big? Never occurred to me that they were wearing someone else's uniform, although absolutely true. In high school, I was wearing someone else's uniform, but you know, it's high school, so I wasn't thinking about it. So very interesting perspective. Thanks for sharing that. Now, what do you know about the men and what they're wearing?
I think, at least specifically for Nebraska, the men do get uniforms catered to them because we just started bringing men back in.
Okay.
And so first of all, I don't believe we had many uniform for men.
Right. Nothing to recycle.
Yeah. From the 90s. And I don't
Skirt was not working. Yeah.
But I do think that was catered a little bit more to them. Just because of the lack of uniforms and because they are very, like, their heights and weights do differ a lot more than I think some of the cheer girls did. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. When we come back, we're going to take a break. I want to talk about how having men cheerleaders has changed the dynamic of being on the cheer squad. Okay. So we're going to take a break and we'll be back. This is 93.7 The Ticket, Walk the Herd.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com. and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts has been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrollouts.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rollouts, cleanup made simple.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
All right, welcome back to Walk the Herd, where the unheard are heard and every perspective counts. My guest tonight, Ashlee Mitchell, D1 cheerleader extraordinaire. She is sharing all kinds of her perspectives, which is outstanding. Love it. Trying to challenge her a little bit to get her to share some things. So right before the break, we were talking about men and women cheerleaders and what they wear, and the fact that for Nebraska anyway, men are more recent. There are other squads where they've had men for a long time, but that there's they're obviously picking things that are going to be safe for them as well and comfortable and all those wonderful things, because the men generally are a base, right?
Yes,
we don't
generally.
fly the men on top. At least not yet.
Yeah, not very often.
But I could see them coming, kind of like jockeys for horses, right? There are some men, I bet, and this will be interesting, right? If we could talk about evolution of male and female in sports, because, there's a whole conversation we could have on transgender in sports, which we're not going to have tonight. However, I would love to talk about the dynamic of having men join the squad and what you see as the pluses probably to that. Or are there any not negatives, but are there things that have to be contemplated, like locker rooms or just conversation when you have a co-ed squad and what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. What's it like?
That's great. I think it's so interesting because other than track and field, we are the only really co-ed team, and we are more aligned than track and field just because we are all together all the time. Track and field always, I believe, splits up into their different areas and specialties. So we really do get the experience of being around the guys all the time, talking to them all the time. We're never, unless it's split up in co-ed and all girls stunt groups, we're never really split up. So I think that's really interesting. That makes an interesting dynamic. I think it's really special actually, because I would like to say this, and I believe everybody would agree with me. They're more of a big brother, little brother type of feel. That's how the dynamic feels.
Sure.
And I think that's really special, especially with Flyers and their co-ed base. They just have a bond like no other. It really is. They're throwing you up, flipping you in the air, and it's just one-on-one. So that it's even more scary, I would say, than all girl in some ways.
Interesting. Yeah.
So they definitely do develop a really strong bond. And I think that is really special. The bond between a Flyer and her base, especially because genuinely you wouldn't believe how many times lives have been saved in cheer in general, especially between that co-ed Flyer and base.
Sure.
So I think that's really special, and that makes it a good bond. Speaking of, I like that you brought up the locker rooms. definitely have split up locker rooms.
Gosh, I hope so.
Yes, for sure. We don't technically have like an official locker room,
Mhm.
and this might have changed this year, but I don't believe it has. But during game days, we do split off into locker rooms and Hawks, but it's not our official locker room. So it
Mhm.
always feels a little interesting. Like you don't really have a home for your stuff. So I think since there are less guys on the team than girls, I think they get to spread out and maybe take a nap or
Okay.
something during halftime. But yes, that's definitely a great question. We do find some good boundaries and like splits there.
Right.
I think because we have one this year, at least they have one male and one female coach, focusing on the different types of stunts. I think that's really important because I think it's easier for the guys' sights and opinions to be seen as well.
Mhm.
Instead of just having one guy as a coach or one girl as a coach. I think it really helped just even out that dynamic of like both sides are being heard.
Right.
Not that necessarily they disagree on anything, but I think it just really helped that dynamic. I do know the guys are awesome and they're super manly, but I know that sometimes people assume that to be a cheerleader, you
Yeah.
have to be running around and just woo, go
Or
team.
not as manly for
Yeah.
whatever
Yes.
reason, right? I'm sure there's a stigma. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We get one of the male cheerleaders to come on here and talk about that.
Yeah,
but-
for sure. I have one planned
Oh,
out. so
excellent. Okay,
tune
perfect.
into my show.
Tune into your show, which we'll talk about here before we leave.
But yeah, I do hear a lot of questions about that. Like, oh, are the guys gay in cheer? Like, how
Right.
does that work? And it's always used in kind of a derogatory way, but I think it's so interesting because all of the guys on our team are, first of all, very manly. Like, I have two brothers, and like they're more manly than my brothers. I hope they're not listening into this right now. But
Except we hope they're listening. But yes. Okay.
at the same time.
Yes.
But they just have so much passion and athleticism that I don't think is always seen because
Right.
as you're watching a game, you may glance by the cheerleaders, but you're not, unless you're my mom, eyes glued on the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And they miss so much, all of the stunts and tumbling, and some of the guys have started tumbling as well. But just some of the feats that these guys really do. And it's incredible to see how strong they are. And I mean, man, I can't imagine lifting 100 to 130 pounds, above my head with one hand.
Right.
It's just insane
Right.
and incredible.
Not for the faint of heart. Right.
And I think it's just always misunderstood because cheer does have some dancey aspects to it and some cheers in it, but the guys are involved in many more ways than just the cheers, and they don't dance either. So like
Right.
that's just a big distinction. I think people just don't always watch the whole part of what the cheer team does, so they miss the
And
parts.
can you do more things because you have men on the squad?
For sure. For
Okay.
sure. Yeah. So we do have girls on the bottom of the pyramids, but
Mhm.
men are like a huge part of our pyramids. It's really hard to stack 3 people on top of each other, let alone having people flip or twist onto somebody else's legs. So it's really important that they're there for stability. And we've just seen incredible stunts.
Right.
I think that it makes a huge difference in the team.
It's a
for sure.
testament to diversity. So a couple of things, and we won't have time to talk about this. I want you to give maybe a 2-second on your show. Okay. But diversity and having men and women, people from different places allows you to do different things and get the best
Yeah.
that you can. And that was
Yes.
always a conversation in the corporate life that I lived in, and the conversation when you have co-ed versus all male or all female. So we will save that for another day. I would love to talk about NIL and a bunch of things we don't have time for, but tell everybody about your show. When does it start? What you're going to be talking about on 30 seconds before we leave tonight.
All right. My show is called Above the Noise, and it's going to be Thursdays at 7 p.m. My first show is this Thursday, and I'm very excited. It's going to be with Audrey Eckert. She is Miss Nebraska USA currently, and she also is a former Husker cheerleader. So I'm excited to talk to her about her ambition and the strength that it takes in her platform. But I'm going to be touching on all sorts of topics, whether it's cheer or high achieving people, and it's just going to be incredible.
Thank you for being with me tonight, Ashlee Mitchell. This is Walk the Herd at 93.7 The Ticket. We'll see you next week.
harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands